Call to order this meeting of the Ashcroft Council for Monday, July 22nd, 2024. Mayor and Council wish to acknowledge that the meeting today is held within the traditional territory of the Inkakabin people. Are there any additions to or deletions from the agenda? All right, we have the minutes of the Committee of the Whole meeting held on Monday, June the 24th. Davenport?
I move the minutes of the Committee of the Whole meeting of Council held Monday the June 24th, 2024 be adopted as presented.
Thank you.
I wasn't here, so.
Okay, Councillor Anstett seconds that. Are there any errors or omissions? Seeing none, all those in favor? Opposed, if any, that's carried. Minutes of the regular meeting of Council held Monday, June 24th. So Davenport?
I move that the minutes of the regular meeting of Council held Monday, June 24th be adopted as presented.
Thank you kindly. Councillor Anstett, you second that. Are there any errors or omissions? On the question, all those in favor? Opposed, that is carried. And the minutes of the special meeting of Council held Wednesday, July 3rd.
I can do this.
Councillor Lambert.
I move that the minutes of the special meeting of Council held Wednesday, July 3rd be adopted as presented.
Thank you. Seconder, Councillor Davenport, are there any errors or omissions? Seeing none, all those in favor? Anyone opposed? That is carried. Delegations, we have the Ashcroft District Fall Fair. Over to you.
Thank you, Mayor. Thank you. Thank you, Mayor, Council, and staff for hearing me out today. You know, I just can't get myself involved in things, but actually this time it is some of the younger generation. We attended the annual general meeting of the Ashcroft District Fall Fair. Oh gosh, it must be 6 weeks or 8 weeks ago. And really without even being asked, we're handed over the fall fair. And we had sort of, between our family, relatives, in-laws, cousins, moms, sisters, all decided that we thought we could do it. We have all participated in the fall fair for many, many, many years. Way back when my kids were little, we even won the aggregate for the best family. Well, I mean, I knew that, but I mean, you know, the most points for a family. But what has happened since then? Different people have taken it on. Jessica was one of them, and it ran really quite smoothly. Unfortunately, when we took over without our knowledge, we were left with a very minimal amount of money. So like we have to sort of start from scratch this year, and it's such an important event, I feel, to the community. I know right now there's so many more important things happening, but when you think about what we have to do to stay a community and stay friends and like each other, and it's having things like the Fall Fair and having the whole community participate in it. And I think with the committee that we have right now, which consists of Kelsey, Nicole, myself, Rayla, and Danielle Nelson, which we all happen to be one family, that we have gotten a lot together and getting very organized. But of course, everybody knows September 8th is soon. And we have one donation so far that we know of, but we are positive that we can go ahead and run the fall fair. Might have to be a little bit smaller. So my objective today is to come and request that council consider giving us a little bit more of a break this year. And perhaps we can build on this because we all have good relationships with people in the community, and we can get the fall fair built up again to what it once was. We need to have the hall, we figure, from September 5th to the 7th and 8th, from the 5th to the 8th, for setup, organizing, getting tables out, taking registration, doing the displays, having the judging, all that sort of thing. So our request, which I realize that the intake is not to be done at this time, but we're asking for special consideration because we're working with Zero, that we get the rental of the arena this year without any charge. We would really, really, really appreciate it. I'm not sure what we can do. One of the things this year, none of the grants were applied for, which have always been previously, but they have to be done by March 31st for most of them. So we missed out on some really large grants that we have. What we drew up is relatively small in comparison to some years, but we're hoping that we can have entertainment, and a lot of entertainment that just requires volunteers. We plan on doing corn shucking, tug of war, nail driving, things like that, that don't cost a lot of money but are fun. Oh, and zucchini racing. We definitely want to do the zucchini racing again. And having things for people of all ages, right from the little ones up. And I mean, I think that we will be having some helpers, because I know my grandkids are involved with 4-H and will be there most likely with their lambs. And so it's hopefully going to be a really good family event. And we've already started doing as much advertising as we can. And one of these days, Barbara won't be as busy and can do an interview for the newspaper. And letting people know. I mean, actually, Nicole could probably write up something and send it in, because she's really good at that. So that is my request. I know that you can't make that decision today. I know how it works, but I really would like your consideration. We do have one other letter that we can bring in that just requests money, or even for you to participate by having a booth at the fall fair, so people can know and ask questions about the village of Ashcroft. So that would be something good, or sponsor something great and wonderful for a prize. I think that's about it. Any questions?
How many years has volunteer been?
I know it's over 50.
Yeah,
And-
I got to, but it's his age,
Yeah,
right?
yeah, that too. I'm not sure when the actual first one, but when Barbara comes across it in the journal, we will.
1890s.
1890s it started. Yeah.
The first was held in Kamloops, and then Ashcroft, the next year was held here. Oh, wow.
Oh my
Yeah,
goodness.
yeah. There's been a few years that, there's not enough volunteers and that sort of thing, which is so important to get the young people involved, and we have 3 of them. Yeah. Any other questions?
Do we have any idea what the arrangement would be for those days?
I think we might have another budget.
$1,000. Would that be included in the whole
I believe that previously there have been days given free of charge, and then for the over, that would be for the call out and the over. Yeah.
Maybe. Director Benny would have more info.
Your worship, council, I'm not 100%, but yeah, the biggest cost would be usually there's a close on Friday evening, opening Saturday morning, close Saturday evening, opening Sunday, and each one you're looking at probably $200 per, so $400, $800, $1,000 just in call-outs, not the arena rental fee on top of that. So it would be more than $1,000.
We did try to shorten up the hours, thinking that if we had enough helpers, we could get everything out and set up a lot faster. So that is in the one letter that we sent.
So, do we have any idea what, what, the different regulations for the, the one part of the different regulations for the, 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 regulations for the,
And then hopefully next year we can get new tables, right, Brian, and then a lot faster for setup.
So September 5th, that would be Thursday, so you know, there with employees.
Your worship, as long as it's between sort of like 7:30 and 3 o'clock, allowing the crews to be able to have time to shut off lights and lock up.
Yeah, we might be able to adjust times on that one. The Friday night, we will not be taking entries on the Friday night as in the past. So it's a possibility of shortening up hours there as well. But then the seventh and eighth, definitely we need it all day Saturday and Sunday.
So if you were able to shorten up the hours or the 5th and 6th, done by
Yes.
and they can get in any time after Saturday.
And then we have to get up, we would consider that.
So it was just
Yeah,
something for
yeah,
you
yes,
in mind,
yes, of course.
just- and then, I mean, I know there's nothing you can do about it this Saturday. Sunday is what it is. You know, it has to take place on the weekend, so that is immovable. Okay. All right, anyone else have any questions? Thank you. It's on. Awesome, and I know.
Well, it wasn't me that took it on. It was those younger girls, and we said, we will help because, you know, we've been there, done that sort of thing.
You could supervise.
Yes, and I can come and speak in public for them, because they're not quite there yet.
Well, and again, it's good to see the younger women in this.
Yeah,
That's
and their husbands will all be involved as well.
Yes.
They're just not on the committee, but each one of them,
Do the husbands know this yet?
yes, they do.
Okay, good.
Yes, and they're very talented, their husbands. So it will be a benefit, definitely.
Any other questions or comments? And it's good that animals are always a big,
Oh, yes.
very popular.
And we also have already talked to the market,
Great.
and they will move over into the parking lot for us.
Oh,
so that
nice.
We'll have the market there, and that will also draw more people in to see what we are doing. They've been agreeable about that, as well as vendors inside that aren't part of the market. Yeah. We have big plans in a short time.
Yes.
But we'll see. Hopefully we can get people entering things as well. But if they don't, we'll just have fun.
Mhm.
Yeah. Okay, thank you
All right,
very
thank
much.
you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you, Deb.
All right, we move on to item number 4, public input. And just a reminder that public input is only about items that are on the agenda, but if you want to.
This is pretty important. Follow social media or news pages for fire-related updates. There are many barriers that may prevent our community members from attending these meetings, including but not limited to wildfire smoke, mobility issues, access to transportation, or means to attend. I'm here to speak to the importance of wildfire mitigation to Ashcroft infrastructure and investing in our community. I began investing 30 years ago and was fortunate to be guided by a close few who shared knowledge and experience, help get me to where I am today, and still take advice from. I have 2 points I'd like to make here today. 1, Ashcroft infrastructure, which includes the hospital, arena, hydro, RCMP station, school, Thompson View Manor, and many more assets around the community. What has been done for fire prevention in our community since the 2017 Elephant Hill fire? For example, take a look behind the village office and the arena, the surrounding riverbanks that border this town. Take a picture, it's a fire hazard. What do you think it would cost to clean our town of this dead fire-propelling fuel? I can tell you it is much less than replacing the infrastructure lost to fire with our taxpayer dollars. As we look around Ashcroft, take the Mesa, for example. Your houses border crown land and village property. There is sagebrush and dead grass, completely lacking fire guards and maintenance. Just below the Mesa is a main highway, where a few years back, a transport truck brakes caught fire. Any fire along that highway could easily ignite the dead grass and sagebrush on the hillside and race upwards towards all of the houses. You may remember when an arson burning at the turnoff to the Mesa, or when a fire started just off the train tracks and climbed towards the Mesa. All of these scenarios could have been much worse. These hillsides have been neglected for years and simply require a brush saw and chainsaw to maintain. We need to do better for fire prevention and maintenance to protect our residents and assets, as well as protect our volunteer fire department staff who devote their own time and lives to protect our assets and the safety of our community.
Okay, I'm sorry, I'm just going to stop you right there for a sec. As I explained, public input is and I realize how important this is, which is why I suggested you come to and speak with CAO Dick. And I'm still going to suggest that because a lot of what you're talking about is either in progress or is something we have no control over. And you know, it's going to sound like I'm fobbing you off, and if you want to believe that, that's fine. Take the riverbank, for example. We cannot touch the riverbank. We cannot. It is a riparian area. It is outside our control. It's under the control of the Department of Fisheries.
So you would take the chance of this?
We cannot by law do anything with it.
So you can't hear me out?
No, we can't do anything. So I'm just saying you're raising questions, a lot of questions here, way more than I'm going to be able to go into tonight.
I don't want you to. I just want you guys to listen to what I have to say. I'll come back and read this again.
Because I have already told someone else tonight that they couldn't talk here because of the agenda. So, I mean, as I said, if you'd like to make an appointment with staff, I know that staff would be more than happy to sit down and hear your concerns.
I'd like to speak to all of council at a meeting, so I would like to be...
Delegation.
Yeah.
So, yeah, as I suggested, speak with CAO Dick, and she will be able to tell you the process for being a delegation. But thank you for, just so that, because you have sort of started going there,
that's fine.
I'll finish. We are undertaking a Fire Smart program in the community. We are well aware of a number of the issues you brought up, and we are doing what we can to mitigate what we have control over. Things like interior health, we're in touch with them about remediating their property. We cannot go in there and do that. We have fire guards on the Mesa.
I'm just making my point of view.
No, absolutely.
Just like any member of this community is allowed to by law.
Yes, absolutely, and I'm not disagreeing with you.
Yeah, I'll come back.
Yep.
Daniela, will you be here tomorrow?
Yeah.
Okay, I'll come talk to you.
Thank you very much.
Thanks.
Anyone else have anything for public input? All right, thank you very much. We have no need of discussing any bylaws or policies. The staff report, we do have the CAO's verbal report for information. CAO Dick.
Thank you, Alicia. So I have 3 items I'd just like to speak on a little bit. One of them is the Shetland Creek, just a brief update on the Shetland Creek wildfire, the response and the update from the village of Ashcroft so far, and then just to give you, Josh, Fire Chief Josh took me up to the fire grounds earlier today, and I got to see it firsthand, and I just wanted to report back on that. So our continued response is to participate in all coordination calls, multi-way calls. So there's 2 types of calls that are coordinated by BC Wildfire and EMBC, the PREOC. One is a daily coordination call at 11 o'clock, 7 days a week, which is an update from the team, the incident command, and they just give us a real high-level review of the previous day's happenings, and they model what they're projecting for that particular day, and they give us a detailed idea of what the weather, what the impacts that they're expecting the weather to have on the situation, and they also really explain what their priorities were the previous day and what they'll be focusing on that day. Today, for instance, they talked a fair bit about the highway closures, the fire had jumped the highway, but they were able to get on that and put it out very, very quickly, but it was certainly alarming. Just how the wind was driving the fire, that crews needed to be pulled out of Venables Valley at one point in time for safety, but then were able to return later in the evening. So it's just a really good information. A lot of the information we're unable to share out to public, but we try and disseminate as much as we can. So we do a bulletin up after the meeting. It gets pulled Monday to Friday. We do it unless it's emergent and things are actively changing over the weekend, then we will log in and do an update on the weekends as well. The other one call is a multi-way call, and that is more for municipalities and TNRD. And it's when or if there's a recommendation, if BC Wildfire is coming in with a recommendation prior to going to the coordination calls, they invite us into one of these multi-way calls where they discuss their recommendation for an alert or an order and give us the reason and the rationale behind that. And then there's an opportunity for discussions and questions and see whether, is it necessary? And BC Wildfire does err on the side of caution, and and like our alert says, in an abundance of caution, this is what we're doing, and that is definitely their focus for protecting community. What else are we doing? I'm also in contact with the TNRD EOC regularly 2-3 times a day. Jamie Vera is their EOC director, and he's been fantastic. He did cover for myself yesterday when I was busy with a family event, and did a fantastic job, and I connected with them afterwards, so they're very helpful. And today we had another meeting about that, or about other things going on, because it's just a constant changing moment, right? We've arranged for transit to the school district, and the school buses are at the ready. I spoke with the manager of operations, and on Friday they had 3 school buses ready, staffed at a 20 minutes call, so it's within, and fully fueled up, ready to go. And by the end of day Friday, they would have 2 more buses fueled up and ready to go for us in the event that we needed them. And Yellowhead Community Services also has buses available for us. And then I reached out to Trish at eFry because in 2021, there was a community committee that kind of took on the responsibility of making sure that our vulnerable citizens and those without transportation we had a list of them and addresses for them so that we could coordinate in the event of an evacuation, we could coordinate their transit out of the community as well. So that phone is active now. They're using the same phone number as last time. It is on our bulletin, and they're between the Hub and the eFry Society. They're manning the phone from 8 a.m. to 8 p.m. 7 days a week. Oh no, Monday to Friday. Pardon me. Today and tomorrow, the concern is the wind for the fire, so that will be they will be actively watching that. And I had a phone call and an email from a lady named Sandy McDonald, who is the granddaughter of Sam McDonald. Once she heard about the fire, and she was quite concerned about the wagon and the wagon shed. Oh. And she says, we are a family, we have trucks, we have low beds, we have all kinds of things. If it looks like we might be evacuated, she has asked for permission to come and get the wagon and take it away to safety temporarily and return it if we are evacuated. So we've kind of talked about, initially I said, I don't think we need to move the wagon right now. She was ready to come up into it. I said, I don't think we need to go there at this point in time, that I would speak with you and see how council felt. And then also we kind of set a trigger point that perhaps if the fire drove us to the point where Ashcroft Indian Band was had an evacuation order, that could be the trigger point where we consider, okay, do you come and get the wagon for protection? Maybe that's, she would just be really sad if her grandpa's wagon burnt up.
Do we know, Director Benowitz, what sort of shape the wagon is in terms of someone lifting it and putting it onto something else?
Your worship, the only thing I'd have to consider, I think we welded some wedges onto the wheels so it couldn't be rolled out somewhere, so those might have to be removed. Other words than that, I think the overall condition of it is fair, that it would probably handle a move.
I'm just kind of worried if someone trying to move it and it
And
Yeah.
it fell and broke, yeah, that would be terrible. And that about sums it up for fire. Like I said, we'll just continue to monitor. Our approach is to inform the public as best as we can on a daily. Mayor Roden did excellent updates on the weekend that I shared to the Facebook page because there was no point in repeating it all. But on the weekdays when we're in the office, we'll do our daily bulletins and have them published by 2 p.m.
And thank you to staff for that awesome job with the bulletins from the village. I think that's a really
Yes.
good, it's very reassuring for a lot of people to see that coming out from an official source.
Yeah.
Like the village. And thank you to Ashcroft Fire Rescue for doing those patrols up Oregon Jackway.
That's right. So Fire Chief White is not on staff at Public Works at the moment. He is on the fire grounds doing patrols. They're actually up there doing some suppression work with the fire department today. So just planning ahead. Branding is the other item I wanted to talk about because of the community barbecue cancellation, which is where we were going to be gathering the physical or the in-person results, our survey results. Margaret went to the post office on Friday morning and took a bunch of samples or surveys with her, and came back to the office when she ran out, and it got really, really smoky. So we did do some additional community outreach just because we weren't able to have our community barbecue. 200 responses, I believe. Yeah, it's excellent. So initially we thought we would be able to bring that information to you today, but it's just too short a notice to pull all that information. So we will likely need a special meeting of council to review that and see what we want to do so that our designer can move forward. And lastly, we received a complaint from our CIB president about our desert planters, and it was her kind of mid-season go around and weed and look after and fertilize where necessary. And there were several planters that were in very dry. So our newer employees in the our seasonal public works employees just missed a few things. So Brian spoke to them, and they made sure that the planters were properly filled and saturated, are now being checked regularly. There was some, we'll have to watch them and see if some of those flowers have died and need to be replaced, but in the meantime, I believe the problem has been solved, but it needed to be brought to council's attention because it came in after and it was addressed to you, so I thought I would just speak to it. They were quite upset because they said it's volunteers working to plant and they would like a more initiative. And it was really just an oversight. They were told their kids and they just missed them. So it has been resolved and shouldn't be an issue anymore. And that is all I have.
All right, thank you very much. Anyone have any questions for CEO Duke?
Your worship, all I'd like to reiterate, if you don't have buoyant alert, please do get it.
Yes.
It's our way of reaching out to you, especially if there's short notice. It's easy, you have to download on the phone, or you can give your phone number as a landline, or there are many avenues for us to get to you. Try to encourage everybody who's in the village to have that.
And I know in the past, staff have offered to help people if they say wanted to download it to their phone or they wanted to sign up via computer. People are able to come and ask staff. And then something I saw was on Friday when we issued the evacuation order for the portion of the village of Ashcroft up by the highway on the branch. People were saying, why didn't I get a voyant alert? And the important thing for people to know or remember is that it is based on your address. And if your address is not within the boundary of where an alert is or some kind of notice has been issued, you don't get it. So even though it's Village of Ashcroft and you're getting Village of Ashcroft voyant alerts, if you, like, I live up on the Mesa, so I didn't get the alert about the Ashcroft Ranch property going on order because I don't live there.
Yeah.
If I'd lived at the Ashcroft Ranch, I would have.
Yeah.
So, That's just an important, it's a very fine distinction, but it's just to remind people that, and you can enter multiple address points.
Just gonna say that, you can't.
Yeah. So people who live elsewhere and have relatives, like, so say an elderly family member who lives here, they can sign up for it and put that address in and get the alerts so that they know what's happening, even if they live in Kamloops or Toronto.
Interesting.
And we actually had, after the alert, after we went on alert, we sent out that initial Voyant alert to the community. We had quite a few people call us saying, my Voyant didn't work, I didn't get it, and the girls were able to walk them through it, and a few residents came into the office and helped residents with that as well. So, and another question, just as I'm thinking of it, one item, we had quite a lot of people ask, well, why didn't you come door to door and give us that? That only happens if there's an evacuation order given, not an alert. So in the event of an evacuation order, we would go door to door. Somebody would be going door to door and knocking on you, and there would be a ribbon tied on your door saying whether you're staying or whether you're going, and that would just let everybody know it at an instant what the situations for your home.
And the evacuation order notice has information what route to take,
Yes.
where the ESS center is, where you go to register. And it's gonna sound like horrible name dropping. I had a phone call from the Emergency Management Minister, Bowen Ma. Last year, the province piloted an electronic ESS registration program. I can't remember where they piloted it.
I don't know.
Anyway, they have activated it for us. So anyone from this region who is evacuated because of the wildfires, you can go to an ESS center, and some ESS centers will register you electronically, some still do it with paper and pen, or you can self-register online. So that's a new thing, because some people are in their RV or they have relatives who they're going to stay with. They don't necessarily want to go to an ESS center, or they don't have any immediate need to go to one because they have accommodation lined up. And so they prefer just to go to their designated spot. But this is a way for them to register without having to go to an ESS center.
In addition to that, when you're registering for that, you can register for EFTs, so you no longer have to physically attend a center while you're on evacuation. Rather than give you vouchers for a hotel room and your meals or groceries, they would send you an e-transfer directly to your bank account. So it's way less.
Is there any way that we can, if it hasn't already, be voiced with exactly, I didn't even know that, that's amazing. So if we could.
This is very new.
Very new.
Yeah.
They're
Well,
talking. They're talking about being able to pre-register even if you're not on. You have to have the species services card, I believe.
Right.
So I'll do some digging and find out. I know there's information. It just keeps trickling down.
Yeah.
I believe you have to have a registered BC services, and then you can.
Yeah, that very new big. So just the fact you can register, you won't get into the pre-registration because it's very very new. So just it's available online, and I've heard of the EFTs.
Councilor Lambert.
That's excellent, because standing in line is frustrating on a calm day. So, that's just nice. I know I would prefer that than having to stand in line and deal with people.
Oh, and when I spoke with Minister Ma, she was quick to reassure that this is not replacing going to an ESS center, especially with people who are not computer savvy at the best of times, and now it's a very stressful situation. We're not expecting everyone to go online and navigate through this. There will still be the opportunity to go into a center and deal with a human. So,
But it alleviates the traffic.
it alleviates the traffic, especially if heaven forbid we do get a bad summer like 2017 where you've got thousands of people trying to register. And the ESS center has been stood up in Merritt. So anyone from this region who's evacuated is going to be directed to Merritt.
I mean, just my own personal experience. It was over 3-hour standing line in 2017 when we were evacuated. It was a long time. And if I was fortunate that I could go, I had my mom and dad with me, and I could just go stand in line and go do that and leave them at the RV park. But if that was a senior person or somebody with mobility issues, that's just so difficult.
Yes. Anything else for Dick? Thank you very much. All right, action item 7.1, Ashcroft Hub request for support. Awesome news about the hub.
I was so excited to
Yes,
see that.
I'm very excited to hear that. So that is awesome news. A lot of stability for them, and a lot of, I mean, as like outlined in the paper, it comes with pros and cons. So one of the cons, obviously, is that they will now have to take over operating the sprinkler system, mowing the lawn, which SD 74 staff have been doing up until now. So I'd like to, in relation to this item, direct staff to prepare a report for council outlining the costs associated with doing lawn maintenance, outdoor water upkeep, and snow removal for the hub. I do have it written down, CEO Dick, in case I was.
Well, thank you, that would be lovely.
Okay, so second, discussion.
I just think I'm so excited that it's finally happened.
Mm-hmm. All right, well, on the question then, all those in favor? Is anyone opposed? That's carried. Railway Safety Week. Coming up.
Thanks.
So, they would like us to declare or proclaim Rail Safety Week 2024 is from September 23rd to 29th, so I will make a motion that we declare September 23rd to 29th Rail Safety Week.
I'll second.
Thank you, Councillor Lambert. Discussion. All those in favor? Anyone opposed? Carried. And we have a number of items for information. Nice to see the thank yous from Moira Kapangas and Kiara Archibald. And a nice thank you from the Desert Sands Community School Class of 2024. Anyone have anything to note here? No. All right, we have the motion tracker on page 32. Information. Anyone have any questions or comments about anything here? I just skimmed right past it. There we go. No comments? All right. Policy review meeting notes. We were just flying through that binder on our last meeting. This is the policy binder here for those of you who are not sure. And we just, when we've discussed any new business, we just figure out where we left off and we start going through and see what changes need to be made to our existing policies. Good?
Way to go.
Yeah. And then when we finish, I guess we're gonna start all over again at the beginning.
We'll make a list of new policies we need to develop.
Mm-hmm. So anyone have any questions about this? Well, a lot of it so far is just housekeeping. I mean, undoubtedly we will come across a few policies that we do need to repeal, or which have been superseded, but
Right.
so far it's really just housekeeping and making sure that they are up to date.
Perfect.
All right. Council reports. Anyone have anything to report?
I do not.
Just thank you to all the community members who are helping out and pitching in. I know that there are some volunteers who are collecting food and delivering food to the first responders and frontline people, which I'm sure is greatly appreciated. Yeah. And who was it? Sea Cadets who? No, minor soccer. Donated water and Gatorade to the firefighters, which I know is very much appreciated, especially in this hot weather. CP sent a pallet of water. So we've got that, and I've had a number of my colleagues reach out to me from the city of Kamloops, and Mayor Grand Forks reached out saying if we need anything to let them know.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. Grand Forks had its own major flooding issues
A couple years ago.
Oh, yeah, that's a few years ago now, so they know what we're through and going through, and our hearts go out to all the other communities that now find themselves facing wildfires, Williams Lake, Wells, Princeton is threatened by one.
It's a little ways away.
Yes. Nelson? Yes, Kootenays have been badly hit with, they've had a lot of fires come up. There's quite a big trough of lightning coming down that side of the province. So that's gonna be lighting up in the next little while. We do have a number of firefighters coming from internationally and from elsewhere in Canada, bringing crews and equipment to BC, and these are gonna be distributed around the province.
If only the world could come together all the time, like
Oh,
it does.
yes, exactly.
You know?
Yeah.
It sure would be nice, wouldn't it?
I know that $1,500 was donated for the food. I was talking with Linda from the Anglican Church, and they have that much money to buy.
Wonderful.
Wow.
As well as pallets of loaves, or 300 loaves of bread.
Yeah.
Yeah,
No, that's awesome to see that, and I know that like the Ashcroft Bakery had
Yeah.
chipped in, and so it really is wonderful to see how people come together, and it's not the first time this has happened in Ashcroft, and it's good to see that spirit is still there, and we're looking after our first responders.
yes.
And I don't really have anything else to report tonight about the fire situation. I'm in constant touch with the TNRD's Emergency Operations Center about what's going on. Latest update is the District of Logan Lake has put a very tiny portion of their huge district on evacuation order. That is the area around the intake, water intake facility on the Thompson that you can see from the highway. My understanding is they do not use it anymore, but they do maintain it as a backup in case they do need it. So they do occasionally get employees going down there, so the evacuation order is just so that people know that they cannot go into that area.
Wow.
So that's why that tiny little chunk, because it is infrastructure, people do go down there
Yeah.
sometimes on legitimate business. There are no residences down there. So yes, if anyone gets concerned about Logan Lake going on evacuation alert, it is 50 kilometers from the actual town of Logan Lake.
I'm sure there were some residents of Logan Lake
Like
that
who
panicked for a minute.
Yes. I think that community's been through enough.
Yeah, for sure.
The power blip last night was caused by BC Hydro switching Spence's Bridge to the Boston Bar grid, so that if the lines are compromised between Spence's Bridge and Ashcroft, they will still have power. We'll still have power too.
It did make me panic for a minute.
Yes,
It had flashbacks to 2017.
I think a few people panicked. Unfortunately, it did come right back on.
Thank goodness.
It was off just long enough to make all the clocks start going
Yeah.
like that.
Your Worship, just to mention for the public that we do have backup generation now.
We do now, yeah.
On a lot of our facilities, we have backup generation here for UC Center. We have backup generation on some of our lift stations and our water stations. We've got a huge generator at the water treatment plant. So, yeah, the backup, so it's a huge one, if you remember seeing
Yes.
that. So we've taken, these are expensive steps, but over the years, we've taken steps to keep rebuilding. And we're getting more backup this year. Too late for this set of fires, but
Yeah.
we are trying to make our systems resilient, and again, going back to that's a project which is going to take off this year, hopefully, once the funding and everything else is approved. They haven't approved yet, have they?
Sorry,
The Fire Smart hasn't.
we're still in. It's the longest process ever.
Wow.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Anything else? All right, we have need of a closed meeting? No? Okay, I just saw this motion to move to a closed meeting, so.
Oh.
Okay, no, that's fine. I'm not complaining at all.
Oh,
It was.
no, it's just always there.
Okay. All right, since we have no need of moving into a closed meeting, thank you everyone, and we are adjourned.